Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be converting soil to leca to make your plant care super easy. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button or pressing the thumbs up button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. We love to grow the community at Grow Folds right here, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. That's the fastest and most direct way to get in touch with me if you ever have any questions about the plants that I show in my videos, whether it's big box or plant shopping or relaxing plant chores like converting plants to semi-hydro. But you can see right here, I am showing some beautiful Aglaonema that I bought from Peta's Planters. If you haven't already, definitely check out petasplanters.com. She is now shipping plants as well as some of these Aglaonema from Costa Farms. This is an Aglaonema red Siam. And today I am going to be converting these plants into semi-hydroponics, basically utilizing the substrate called Leca to make my plant care even more easy than it is with just keeping these plants in soil. And you can see right here, we've got an Aglaonema amber. This one is a larger leaf type Aglaonema that I bought from Peta's Planters. So if you're looking for rare Aglaonema and you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, definitely visit Peta's Planters. It is a small plant shop out in Dallas, Texas. You can see I've got another beautiful Aglaonema Aladdin here that I bought from Peta's Planters. And if you haven't already, definitely check out the plant podcast that I'm part of called Cultivation Corner. We just launched season 2, episode 1, where we feature Lupita and her story on how she started her small business in Dallas. But as you can see here, I also have a Manjula pothos that I will be converting to leca to semi-hydro today. Costa Farms is pushing out these new Manjula pothos. I'm still in the search for the Manjula pothos hanging baskets, but you know, Costa Farms, they are a very consistent nursery that provides us with a lot of beautiful plants, and I'm really thankful for them as they provide to a lot of big box stores. But as you can see right here, this is actually my Aglaonema haul that I have. So you can say that I am basically obsessed with Aglaonemas. They are easy to care for plants. They are plants that are super underrated and overlooked oftentimes for the more rare variegated philodendron, monsteras, Hoyas, but I just feel like we can start a revolution when it comes to getting these plants to be trending. But before we do that, I did want to invite you to the Cultivation Corner YouTube channel. This is a plant podcast show that features myself, Janae Simone, and Steven of I Live Plants. Please check it out as we are now in season 2. And every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard USA time, you can find a live premiere where we will actually be in the live chats. We have 10 episodes for season 2, and I hope that you guys will tune into all things conversation wise with plants and just people in the community. So hopefully you can support us, especially the Dallas-Fort Worth community. Definitely support your own, support your local, and we hope that we can actually cultivate even more meaningful conversations through our plant podcast. It is a 3-person hosted show, so it's a little bit more unique, and we do have some merch available too.
Y'all see the shirts that we're rocking? I mean, isn't this fly? This is fly. See, this could be in your closet. You know what I'm saying? We are selling these limited edition Cultivation Corner sweatshirts right now.
Season 2?
That's right.
Season 2.
Season 2. Listen, if you want one, you better get up on it because, like I said, they're limited. So
send us a DM in the Cultivation Corner Instagram so we can go ahead and get that custom sizing.
That's right.
You could be like us.
That's right. You don't want FOMO on this one, you guys. You need this is what couture.
Cultivation Couture.
Cultivation Couture.
And And for those that are new to the channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. You can see that I have set up my bright potting up mat. I love this mat. I ended up buying it actually on Amazon. And you can see the first plant I'm going to be converting to leca would be in Aglaonema Aladdin. And you can see right here that the soil is somewhat moist. What the trick to moving these plants from soil to semi-hydroponics, whether it's lechuza pond or leca, today I'm going to be using leca, is to make sure that you are removing as much of the soil off of the roots the initial, depotting, I guess is that what you want to call it. But basically being really careful with getting the soil off of the roots. So oftentimes I say to remove the soil when the soil is pretty much dry. It's a little bit easier than to remove soil that's wet. This one is just slightly moist, but I was able to get a lot of the soil out. And as far as getting the roots cleaned up, I'm just going to save that for later when I actually run water and really clean up the roots. But this is the first Aglaonema here. Aglaonemas are very easy to convert into semi-hydro, and the reason being is because they have really thick roots. You can see that this is a very healthy root system, and so I'm just going to be repeating this process with all of the other plants here. Again, plant foldies, if you have any questions or comments, please leave that in the comment section. I respond to every single comment that's put in the comment section. So hopefully you will try your hand at converting plants to semi-hydro. I mean, you can see right here, this Aglaonema Sundrop has some really nice established roots. I would say with the Aglaonema, actually most plants, they prefer to be more so root bound. So it's okay to keep a plant in a planter where they are a little bit more root bound. They just tend to be a little bit more healthy when they are root bound before you upsize the pot. But as you can see right here, I am just tapping and just trying to gently get rid of a lot of the soil. And so just sit back, relax, and watch my demonstration ASMR relaxing sounds video today. This is a little bit different of the content. I know most of you will probably not tune into my relaxing plant chores how-to tutorial videos because you guys are looking for the big box store plant shopping videos, but I hope you will still give me some viewership for some of the other content I do because there's only so many big box store plant shopping videos I can do on a daily basis. So sit back, relax, and check out these Aglaonema. And again, a lot of these rare Aglaonema can be bought on petasplanters.com. She is now shipping. So if you want to be an Aglaonema fan, if you want to hashtag popularize Aglaonema, definitely buy your Aglaonema from Petas Planters, or you can go to a big box store like Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, or even Target, where you can go shopping for these awesome Aglaonema plants that are typically sourced out by Costa Farms. I noticed when I was removing the soil from this particular Aglaonema amber, there was a little part that was kind of rotting. So I went ahead and kind of chopped it off. You can see that this is the open wound. What I do whenever there's any open wounds to plants or any plants that have some type of rotting, I pat down a lot of just regular cinnamon powder. Cinnamon powder is actually good to heal or callus a cut. So whenever you're doing like plant propagation cuttings, you can just use that to callus it out. And then the next step, as you can see right here, is to spray the plant, the tops of the leaves, the bottoms of the leaves, the stems, the petioles, the nodes, the roots, especially with a DIY neem oil spray, or you can just use insecticidal soap. I let this sit down on the plant for a good 5 minutes before I rinse out at least the roots. This is to ensure that if there's any potential plant pests living on the plant or any plant pest eggs, that you can destroy and get rid of all of the plant pests before you actually put them in a substrate like Leca, because it's a little bit harder to use systemic granules. I don't think you can use systemic granules in semi-hydroponics, so it's very important to clean and to get rid of as much of the potential pests by just spraying it down with neem oil. I like neem oil because it's an organic substance and it's just a little bit less invasive versus like pesticides. And you can see right here, after I leave the plants settle for a good 5 minutes, I just go ahead and rinse out the soil off of the roots. It's very important to get as much of the soil off of the roots, because then if you have any soil, especially heavy soil buildup on the roots, whenever you put it in a semi-hydro substrate, it could potentially cause root rot because of the bacteria. So you really want to make sure that you have as much of the soil removed as possible. In a perfect scenario, that is the case, but sometimes it is a little bit more challenging to get rid of every speck of dirt. So if you have a little bit, that's okay, but less dirt is definitely going to make your success with semi-hydroponic conversions a lot higher. And I did want to say, for those that have tried to move Aglaonema, for instance, into semi-hydroponic substrates like Lechuza Pond or Leca, there is always a chance that either the plant doesn't survive the conversion. If it makes the conversion, it's going to definitely make your plant care easier, but there is a potential that maybe the roots may rot. Number one causes to why semi-hydro doesn't work for somebody is they fill up the water reservoir way too high. So you really don't want to put water to where water and the roots are sitting in Leca. You really want to use the wick, the self-watering wick, to pull up the moisture or the water into the Leca versus just pretty much putting water and then just dousing it with Leca and roots, if that makes any sense. I'll get into further detail about that, but you can see right here, I am just carefully cleaning the roots out as much as possible. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen me do conversions before, but I did want to share my passion about semi-hydro. Some people will say semi-hydroponic substrates are not good long-term for plants. I just think that if it works for you, and it has definitely worked for me, then use the substrate. Now, if you are more comfortable, growing your plants in, traditional medium like soil, then go ahead and do that. But for me, for somebody who doesn't water my plants as often as I need to, or for somebody that's just really busy with work or just life in general, I would say semi-hydroponic substrate conversions are a lot easier, because then you don't have to water the plant. You just have to fill up the water reservoir, and it does the job for you. So let me know what you think about, semi-hydroponics, if you would do that. And also let me know what you think about this Aglaonema sun drop. I love engagement. I love literally every single comment that somebody takes the time to put in my videos. So definitely fill this video up with lots of comments. I want to continue the dialogue even outside of the live premiere chats, and we can do that by just having some conversation in the comment section. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up my sink, and I say this in all my videos, but I really wouldn't recommend using your kitchen sink to do these conversions, because it could clog up the sink. What I do is I just use hot water, and then I immediately use my garbage disposal to make sure everything is crushed up, and maybe it will not, actually get clogged up, but we'll see. But anyways, let me go ahead and just show you this process again. So what you want to do is spray down the plant with some type of pest control spray, whether it's neem oil or whether it's insecticidal soap. Let it sit on the plant for about 5 minutes, and whenever I actually clean the roots, I leave the soap, the insecticidal soap, or better yet, the neem oil spray on the plant, because it does add a layer of additional protection once you pot up the plant in that semi-hydroponic substrate. And you'll notice even though the soil is actually pretty dry for this Mandula pothos, I am still struggling to get the plant out. It looks like there are several Mandula pothos cuttings, so I'm going to have to like restack them whenever I pot them back up in Leca. But as far as Mandula pothos, the reason why I just want to put it in Leca is I'm curious to see if golden pothos or any type of Epipremnum aureum, specifically the Mandula pothos, will just do well in semi-hydro. I know that people can grow these in straight hydroponics, which is basically water, but I wanted to see if I could just grow it to the point where I don't ever have to worry about it. Like I can just set it and forget it and not have to worry too much about the watering for these Mandula pothos. And I'm just glad to see that this more uncommon Epipremnum aureum or pothos plant is available now by Costa Farms at big box stores like Lowe's, Home Depot, or Walmart. And I do suggest if you don't have local nurseries or plant shops, like for instance, Peta's Planters or the Plant Keeper Nursery out in Dallas, Texas, you can always go to one of those big box stores to go shopping for your plants. And then you can see right over here, I already have several Aglaonema pink Siams, but I really wanted to, I suppose, rescue this Aglaonema pink Siam because this is a trending tropicals plant by Costa Farms. I've seen this particular Aglaonema growing at a Lowe's, or at least has not sold for more than a month and a half. And to me, I don't want it to actually decline in health to the point where I'll end up going on 50% off and then it ends up going to plant heaven, or more so just getting composted into the trash can. It is such a beautiful plant. It is another Aglaonema that a couple years back was super expensive. So thank you to Costa Farms again for making some of these more uncommon plants, especially Aglaonema, more readily available to the general public. You can see that it's really easy for me to work with Costa Farms Aglaonema because the soil substrate they use is pretty easy to remove. And you can see that there are two Aglaonema pink Siams. Today, I'm actually going to split them and pot them up in 5-inch self-watering planters. So for $19.84, I got a 2-in-1 special. What's interesting though is that this particular Aglaonema seems to be in these little plastic black cages. Maybe that's just how Costa Farms grow some of these plants very quickly, but they kind of just left the cages in there. Some people say that it kind of stunts the growth. I would say the roots will find a way to get out of the cage, which is what happened, but I'm definitely going to remove the cage out by carefully cutting the cage off of the roots. Hopefully I don't break too many roots with the Aglaonema pink Siam, but you can see right here, there is one that is already free. And with the Aglaonema pink Siam, the more bright light you give it, the better pink margins or borders around the leaves that will be more prominent. So I'm really excited to see how these grow. Leca has been a really good substrate for my Aglaonema, number one, because Leca is more cost effective whenever you compare using Lechuza Pon or Leca. And speaking of Lechuza Pon, what is it? Amazon is still out of stock, but there are some local sellers out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, specifically Rooted Petals, which is another I guess independent small business that is sourcing out Leca. Lechuza Pon. So I will definitely be doing some pre-orders and hopefully have some Lechuza Pon available the first or second week of March. That way I can actually pot up some of my alocasias and some plants that have a little bit more finer roots. Here's the thing about semi-hydroponic substrates. If you want to use Leca, I would use it on plants that have more of a thicker root system, and that would be like more so Aglaonemas. If you touch the roots of Aglaonemas, they are really thick and juicy and very durable, and I feel like that would be a better substrate to use as Leca. And if you're trying to save money, and I think everybody who has plants, whether you are well-to-do and have the money to fund plants, I would say even just having a plant collection can be very pricey. So we just have to find ways to reduce our costs when it comes to plants. For me, not sending a plant to plant heaven is one way of not reducing or at least reducing my costs for plants. So that's the reason why I have been really just inspired to use the semi-hydroponic substrate conversions. I think that it's made it a lot easier. And somebody asked me a question about what I do with the soil after I remove the plants. What I do is I typically just put them in my landscape, in my garden bed, or reuse them. You know, it's one of those things where you don't want to just throw away the soil. I feel like if it's pretty good soil, just put it down into the ground. And if there are any plant pests, nature is going to find a way to get rid of these pests. Now, the reason why I ended up buying this Aglaonema red Siam right here for only $15.97 in a self-watering planter from Walmart is, if you notice, look at how large these Aglaonema red Siam is. I mean, I haven't seen one that this is pretty large. So I want to go ahead and pot this up in an actual 7-inch clear planter. So this is actually in a 6-inch planter, and you can see, look at the roots. Why would you not want to convert this to semi-hydro and make it even easier? So I bought some clear 7-inch planters from Peta's Planters, and then I'm going to use a planter I bought from IKEA, which was also on sale as the catch pot, which will actually be the planter that holds the nutrient solution or water reservoir. But you can see there are 3 Aglaonema here. So we'll see what I will do with this Aglaonema, if I will pot all of them up or separate them. You can actually get 3 plants for the price of 1. And that's the thing I love about Aglaonemas. You can even see on the side, this one is pretty established to the point where it's even shooting out even more babies or little pups. So as far as plant propagation, especially with Aglaonema, you can get free plants by just letting it mature and then actually separating the baby pups from the mother plant. I think that that is the most safe. That's probably the safest way to get new plants from an Aglaonema. Or you could do cuttings, but I feel like sometimes cuttings takes a little while. Aglaonemas are very slow growing plants. I think that's the only drawback for Aglaonemas, but in terms of even just propagation of Aglaonema, they're easier once they start to push out little baby pups. So let me know what you think about this Aglaonema red Siam. It is one of the most basic or common Aglaonema you will find, but look at how large the leaves are once it's fully established. It's one of my favorite easy care plants that everybody, especially if you are a Growfold, Plantfoldy supporter, viewer, subscriber, you need to have an Aglaonema red Siam. Please leave it in the comments if you have actually added an Aglaonema. I love hearing your plant finds, especially when you start collecting Aglaonemas. And you can see Plantfoldies right here. I am just repeating the process of spraying either insecticidal soap, or in this case, I am using neem oil spray to make sure that there are no plant pests just lingering over the plant. So you want to spray the tops of the leaves, the bottoms of the leaves, the roots, the stems, all of it. this Manjula pothos, I'm really taking a little bit more time to clean the roots because the roots had a lot of soil stuck on it. I would say this is an example of a situation where you're not going to be able to get rid of a lot of the soil, or at least there's going to be just some remains of the soil on the roots. That is okay, especially when it comes to Manjula pothos or pothos plants in general. Their roots will convert into soil roots, so it's not like you're just going to rot the roots out for these particular plants. Some plants are a little bit more sensitive when it comes to their soil roots, their water roots, or their semi-hydro roots. It just really depends. But for this one, I'm just being a little bit more cautious and trying to remove as much of the soil as possible. So sometimes you're going to have to take a little bit more time to really like rub off the soil off the roots. But you can see that there's still a little bit left on here, but that's okay. We're going to see if it'll convert. I'm pretty sure it will establish, but it's always better to try to remove as much of the soil as much as possible. You can see right here, plant folies. I ended up separating a little baby from the Aglaonema pink siams right over here. You can see that there is some roots, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually leave this plant in water. So it just pushes out a couple more roots because I don't necessarily have a small 3-inch self-watering planter to place this particular Aglaonema in. When I actually get one, I may end up just going to pot up and put it in Leca. But as you can see right here, these roots on this Aglaonema red Siam is doing very well, and you can see that there are 2 or 3 babies that I can actually separate from this plant. But today I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually try to keep this plant as lush and full as possible once I pot it up in a 7-inch clear planter. Since I have a bigger pot, this is going to need a little bit of a bigger pot. We'll see if this establishes and if it'll actually get larger in Leca. I haven't really grown any plants in Leca for too long. I'm hoping that this year I will be able to grow them and give you guys updates on the upkeep and care of plants in semi-hydroponics. Again, plant foldies, let me know in the comment section what you think of this process. If you have any questions, what your stories are in terms of any conversions you've done in semi-hydro. And foldies, this is another step that's pretty critical, and this is making nutrient solution. So whenever you are converting plants to semi-hydro, you can't just really leave them in water, because water will not necessarily have the nutrients for the plants to grow long term. They will still survive in water, but you really want to give them nutrients. So what I do is I take a gallon container, and then I use these nutrients. Everybody's nutrient solution is a little bit different, but this one works for me. What I do is I use the Weed the Wild Grow concentrate, but I only use a 1/4 of a tablespoon and put it in there. I like to use very diluted nutrients, especially when I'm first putting these plants in semi-hydroponics. After I put that nutrient, you want to go ahead and put water in between each nutrient solution you put. So after I put the grow concentrate solution, I'm going to go ahead and put water, and then let's go ahead and I'm going to use this Fox Farm fertilizer. So we'll see what that looks like right here. I use a 1/4 of a dose again, and I put that in my semi-hydroponic water nutrient solution. So that's all I do is just put a little bit of that, and then I put water in. And so plant foldies, go ahead and just watch the nutrients. I'm going to go ahead and flash that, and then you can possibly purchase it and emulate this nutrient solution that I use. Here's the thing, I ran out of Super Thrive, but I know there's a little bit of trace elements of Super Thrive, so I went ahead and put water into the jar and just poured out whatever Super Thrive was left. Super Thrive is really good for plants because it has a B vitamin that helps plants recover from stress. And you already know, when you're taking a plant from a soil substrate and removing all the soil and taking out of its environment, it's going to definitely be stressed. So this is the reason why it's important to use certain nutrients. I am now going to be using the Protect solution with Super Thrive. This is basically a silica solution which makes the cells of the plant a little bit stronger. So I'm actually going to use 1.5 tablespoons of this. I don't mind putting a little bit more liberal application for this one because it does make the plant a little bit more heat tolerant, drought tolerant, and it's really good for the roots in terms of preventing it from potentially root rotting. And that's the reason why a lot of semi-hydroponic substrate conversions fail, is because the roots end up rotting for somehow. And so I like to put silica solution. Again, I do a very small diluted dose of this. Most of the ingredients will ask for 1 tablespoon, but I'm only using a 1/4 of a tablespoon per gallon. So do your research on that. And I'm actually going to use some Tiger Bloom Fox Farm fertilizer as well. I'm just going to put a 1/4 dose of that, and then I should be done with my nutrient solution. It should be enough to establish the plant. Now, clearly you could go a higher dose for nutrient solution once the plant is fully established. But what I would say about hydroponic growing is less is more. Less fertilizer is definitely do more benefits than over fertilizing a plant, because you don't want it to go into shock, burn the leaves, burn the roots, etc., etc. So hopefully me showing you how to make this nutrient solution helps you guys out. And then actually after I mix this up, I actually use only half the dose of this this nutrient solution when I actually fill up the water reservoir, which you will see later on in this video. Well, as far as the ingredients for this, I am actually just using 5.5 inch or 5-inch planters with self-watering planters I bought from Amazon. I got like 14 of these pots for $30. It comes with the wick string, and you really need that in order for it to pull up the water into the substrate. What I do is I'll put a layer of Leca down first, pull up the wick string to where it's kind of in the middle of the catch pot right there, and then I pot up the plant. What you want to do, especially when you're potting up plants, is you want to plant them further down. So if you have like a leggy Aglaonema, you can plant it further down so it doesn't look as leggy, and it will promote the plant from actually promote the plant to grow more little baby pups to make it a little bit more full. But as you can see right here, I'm just carefully putting the Leca down, and what you want to do is pat, kind of tap the sides of the pot to really get all of the debris out, as well as getting any of the air pockets out. You want to make sure that your plant is snug, but you don't want to push too hard with the Leca balls or even the lechuza pond, because you don't want to damage the root. You just want to make sure that these roots are snugged in with these with the Leca. So you want to pat the sides of it to really get the air pockets. And as far as this potting up part, it's fairly self-explanatory. You can just watch my demonstration. Again, plant foldies, if you have any questions about this process, please leave that in the comments below. And if you made it this far into the video and you have not pressed the thumbs up or like button, please press the thumbs up or likes button. It does help my channel grow substantially because it pushes this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. We are really close to getting to 12,000 subscribers, and it's taken a hot minute for us to actually get to that milestone. So hopefully with your help, my videos will get more discovered by other plant lovers. But anyways, enjoy this process of me potting up the plants, and just sit back and relax to the ASMR sounds. So we're almost done converting the plants into semi-hydro. So what I like to do is now rinse the leca. Some people say you don't necessarily have to rinse the leca. I like to rinse the leca or whatever semi-hydro substrate you're using. So if you're using lechuza pond, you can do that. It is not recommended to do this over your sink because there is potential for the debris to just clog up the sink. So we just want to make sure that there is an air of caution if you're going to try to do that in the sink. And I want to go ahead and put that disclaimer out there that I'm not telling y'all to use your sinks to rinse out your leca. It's really recommended to do it outside so that the debris and all of that does not clog up your sink. But for me, it is really cold right now in North Dallas when I filmed this. I mean, we had wind chills of like 17 degrees or something of that nature. I'm just really ready for spring. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and do this over my sink. And then after you rinse the leca, like I said in my previous conversion videos, you want to water with nutrient solution. So the nutrient solution I made is a very diluted nutrient solution. I just want to get that nutrient in the leca. And then once I water it with nutrient solution, I'll get the self-watering planter, just the catch pot, and I'll fill it up halfway to the water gauge with the nutrient solution, and then fill up the rest with just regular water to further dilute it. As long as your string for your wick is submerged in the water, it's going to self-water the plant as it establishes its roots. Aglaonemas in general, whenever you convert them to semi-hydro, do very well. I don't think they suffer nearly as well as, say, in alocasia, for instance. They're a little bit more finicky. I've noticed plants that have a little bit more finer roots tend to have a little bit more of a struggle versus plants with really thick, juicy roots like Aglaonema. And really, you don't have to convert your Aglaonema to semi-hydro. I only do that because, number one, the benefits of growing plants in semi-hydro is you have less stress in terms of having to water the plant, and you also don't have to worry about plant pests because plants like, for instance, the fungus gnats need a moist soil for them to lay their eggs and actually hatch. Well, if it's just the leca balls, they're not really going to have space or that moisture for them to really lay their eggs. So there's just a lot of things in terms of semi-hydro as far as the benefits are concerned. I would say the cons, though, of growing plants in semi-hydroponics is really the nutrients that they can receive. I would say soil probably has more of a natural way of getting all of the nutrients to a plant versus you having to mix the nutrient solution for the plant up. Whenever you are converting plants into semi-hydro, you want to give them a lot of bright indirect light. That way you're giving them the best environment that they can possibly have while they're converting their roots from soil roots to semi-hydroponic roots. So as far as this same process, I'm just going to keep showing you how I rinse the leca and then do the process of watering it with nutrient solution and then potting it up at the end. And then the final steps would be just to clean the plant up, and then I'll present and give you my final thoughts. I also want to mention that I like to spray even more neem oil spray on the plant after I water with the nutrient solution and right before I pot up the plant with the water reservoir filled up. That's just another air of caution, and it's also prepping the plant for me to use my microfiber gloves to rub and really shine the leaves and just make it look really clean. So I'm almost done just finishing up this step, and then you'll see the final process of me cleaning and really pampering my plants. And this is my favorite part. I'm actually using the We the Wild neem oil spray, the Protect solution. You can actually buy this at Target as a gift set. It'll come with your microfiber gloves as well as the neem oil solution. What I like about this is it actually has a really nice smell. So versus just using the cold press neem oil spray you can buy from Amazon, the one that I use to make the foldy mist, this one has a really nice fragrance about it. And what you want to do is actually spray the neem oil, let it sit there for a second, and then you want to rub the tops of the leaves, the bottoms of the leaves. And I do that for pretty much all the leaves of each plant that I put in semi-hydro. And the reason why I do this is, number one, I like clean, shiny leaves. Number two, by physically rubbing down the leaves, any potential plant pest will not be on the leaf. And so that just adds another layer of protection. I haven't had any type of pest issues by doing this process, and I really think this is a good preventative. And you can see that it's just a relaxing portion of it. So I'll just show you this, and then I'll give you my final thoughts about the plants that I converted from semi-hydro today. these are my beautiful Aglaonema that have been converted from soil to Leca. So the first one up is an Aglaonema amber right here. It does have one leaf torn, but I'm okay with that because look at how gorgeous the leaves are. Such a stunning Aglaonema. And for those that are still not sold on Aglaonema, I beg to ask why, and if you have gotten an Aglaonema, what other Aglaonema are you looking for? I know that if you're looking for the Aglaonema Red Siam, this is a common one you can find at a big box store like Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, Target, and maybe even places like grocery stores. This is a common Aglaonema, but it's one that's very pretty, and you can see like the leaves. I do have to ask the plant foldies that have stuck around this long. Number one, have you pressed the thumbs up or like button for the video? If you haven't, please do so. And then number two, what do you think about the leaf shine, the Weed the Wild neem oil spray? Like, I am not sponsored by Weed the Wild, but I will tell you their products are amazing. I rave about them all the time because look at the result of the leaves. I mean, it just really elevates the look of the plant, and that's the thing, right? Whenever you are admiring your plants, you want to see shiny, vibrant, colorful leaves. And you know, Aglaonemas, once you start using that neem oil spray on it, I mean, just take a look at this. This is an Aglaonema Aladdin. I love the fact that it has like green leaves, and then it has leaves that are predominantly pink, and that's what makes Aglaonema so interesting because they have different types of leaf shapes, different leaf sizes, different growth patterns, different types of variegation, and they are just a very exciting plant. A lot of people are into anthuriums because you can hybridize them. Well, Aglaonemas are also another plant that can be hybridized. I think the process takes a lot longer, but I mean, you can see these results. Can you imagine mixing an Aglaonema Sundrop with maybe an Aglaonema Pink Siam, what you would get out of it? I would love to see the process of an Aglaonema hybridization on YouTube. I'm hoping that maybe somebody in Indonesia or Thailand could show that process on YouTube because that would be amazing. If you're looking for these hybrid Aglaonemas, they're definitely more available in overseas like Thailand and especially Indonesia. If you're looking for rare Aglaonemas, you can always order them from greenspaces.id, for instance, or if you want to get them locally, you can actually order from petasplanters.com. You can also follow her on Instagram, send her a direct message, because all of these Aglaonemas, except for the Aglaonema Red Siam and Aglaonema Pink Siam, came from Petas Planters, and she typically has weekly restocks, and I'm pretty much collecting all the Aglaonemas. So thankful for our friendship with Lupita, and if you haven't already, please watch the Cultivation Corner Season 2 Episode 1 Plant Podcast, where we feature Petas Planters and her story on how she started it. But hopefully you guys have really enjoyed these conversion videos where I am just showing you my relaxing plant chores. Leave in the comments if you have any questions, if you like the plants, anything of that nature. I will definitely respond to each and every one of y'all. And just wanted to pan over here and just keep showing you my plants, and then I'll end this video shortly. Like this video, please press the thumbs up or like button. It really does help me out. I know I mention this quite often, but it really does. And then if you like this type of content as well, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Growfolds with all the notification bell on. This is Richie. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.